Right, good morning Tobago, good morning to the world, wherever you are. Welcome to Rise and Shine. I am Derek Bradley-Bathwaite. A wonderful morning to you. Today being the 25th of November, Wednesday the 25th. And of course, we're looking forward to the enjoyment and so on. So we are getting ready for that season. Most of you, I don't know if you're feeling it, but some people don't because they're not in, the COVID has stolen their joy. But anyway, don't allow it to do so. And of course, but you're up, you're alive. Give God thanks for life, most importantly. And of course, show the children love as they go through and navigate. And talking about children, right? Dealing with that Venezuelan issue, I'm hearing people say, and let me just give you this quick. The decision by the state to deny or detain Venezuelan minors who have arrived here with their parents and seeking refugee status has been deemed as illegal by the High Court. And such decisions set a bad precedent from the world looking on. Now, precedent is the key word there. Now, you have to be careful of the precedent you set for those who want to come. Remember, it's 31 million people that lives in Venezuela. It might cut down to about a 30 or 29 million now. If they really decide to say they're giving refugee status in Trinidad, let we flood their shores. We can't have place, we don't have place to hold them. So some precedent has to be set. That's me observing, looking on. All right, let's go to morning news. But before that, let me let you know, we will speak and we continue our series of Year in Review. Assemblyman Marcelin Melville Jack would be our guest this morning as we Year in Review. And she is Secretary from the Division of Community Development, Enterprise Development and Labor. So we'll have that conversation. And then later on, we talk to CivilNet. That's an online Zoom discussion. And we talk with Mr. Edwards, Xavier Edwards, and Ms. Shirley Cook. At this point in time, we go for morning news. We'll be right back. See you then.
2 men are facing charges for the murder of Omari Matthews. Director of Public Prosecutions Roger Gaspard gave instructions for 33-year-old Dion Gardner and 24-year-old Jabari James to be charged with Matthews' killings. In addition to the murder charge, the 2 suspects are being charged for possession of an illegal firearm and ammunition. Police investigations revealed that on Saturday, 14th November 2020, the victim was in Corland Bush Trace in Black Rock around 1:30 a.m. There he allegedly had an argument with the 2 men who were known to him. The 2 men were said to have gotten into a grey Toyota Aqua, and when the victim approached the vehicle, 3 explosions were heard. The men reportedly sped off in the vehicle after the victim fell to the ground, bleeding from his neck. He was taken to the Scarborough General Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. One of the suspects was held in Plymouth on the day after the murder, while the other was held a few days later. The National Security Minister has defended the state's decision to return 16 Venezuelan children to Venezuela after authorities intercepted a vessel they were traveling on at sea. Minister Young said government will continue to defend the borders of Trinidad and Tobago.
We are entitled to protect our citizens and the legal people in Trinidad and Tobago, and that is what we've been doing. We've been detaining people, we've been deporting people, we've been escorting people back across the borders. That is border protection. So you can't have it one way and then not the other. You can't say protect the borders, close the borders, but allow this one in, that one, not that one, not that one, choose that one. That is not how this government operates.
The National Security Minister noted that there are instances of attorneys showing up at detention sites claiming to represent the children's parents who are in Trinidad and Tobago. However, he cautioned that the state must be careful.
How is it that persons who are coming in, you don't know they're coming in, arrive here illegally, come off a boat, picked up, taken straight into custody? Who is it that gets their names? Who is it that suddenly knows all of the people who on that boat, knows their passport numbers allegedly, knows their ages, who they're related to, and all of a sudden an attorney arrives with that information? Think about it.
Minister Young noted that members of the Venezuelan diaspora who were granted a legal clearance to work and live in Trinidad and Tobago cannot legally request for individuals from Venezuela to come over.
Persons who are here legally, who may be the recipients of the Venezuelan migrant registration process, are not above the law. They cannot then determine, well, I'm calling for X, Y, and Z over in Venezuela, no visa to come in, break the border, because it's illegal to come in without approval, enter Trinidad and Tobago because I called for you. That's what you're hearing now. I'm putting it down here today. We are going to start investigations, and anyone who has a Venezuelan migration registration card that is engaged in that, you are aiding and abetting in the breach of law of Trinidad and Tobago, and you're committing a criminal act.
Recently, representatives of the Prisons Office Association called for the release of certain categories of prisoners to ease the system. Minister of National Security Stuart Young said the process has been complicated as a result of legal actions.
There's a recent Privy Council decision that has now complicated the Mercy Committee procedure. They've now said you have to let the applicant to the Mercy Committee be part of the hearing. If they want to be heard, you have to present them with all the documents you're going to consider. That has complicated the whole process and is now akin to a whole hearing and a tribunal.
Minister Young stated the judgment has drastically changed the operations of the Mercy Committee and in some instances even stopped the release of some prisoners.
We had a Mercy Committee. I chaired the Mercy Committee. We had a Mercy Committee hearing. We actually decided 8 of the applications before us should be released when we considered everything, 8 of them, and then to be told, well, hold on, there's this Privy Council decision. They weren't given the opportunity to be heard. They weren't. And you know what was my response? I said, you are telling me that any one of those 8 would protest at the fact that the Mercy Committee has just released them because they didn't have an opportunity to be heard? That is how ridiculous sometimes the law is.
The minister said he is attempting to work in accordance with the ruling, but the COVID-19 pandemic added further complications.
How are you going to take the prisoners out, bring them into a room, and some of the persons on the Mercy Committee are not so young of age, and all these types of things, that every time you move persons, there's a risk of COVID. So I'm exploring, can we do it virtually, because I want to be able to get on with that work. And those who should be released, let us get. I have no interest whatsoever in those who are deserving to be released in holding that process back.
To the nation's latest COVID figures, the Ministry of Health confirmed an additional 13 COVID cases. The cases are from samples taken between November 21st and 23rd, 2020, and not the last 24 hours. This brings the number of recorded cases to 6,488 from 36,241 sample tests. 734 cases are active, with deaths remaining at 115. 648 persons are self-isolated at home under government monitoring, of which 174 are in care of the prison system. 123 patients are housed at state quarantine facilities, while 45 remain warded at hospital, with a further 28 being transitioned through designated step-down facilities. Just like everything else in 2020, Christmas is not going to be the same as past occasions. Although large parties and gatherings are not allowed this year, there are still ways persons can celebrate without jeopardizing health and safety. The Ministry of Health is offering a few tips on how to deal with the Christmas season while in the midst of a COVID pandemic.
Christmas is a time for community and sharing, but with COVID-19 times, it will have to be different. Director of Mental Health in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Hazel Othello, says, while it is different, persons should focus on what they can do as opposed to what they cannot.
In other words, if we think about Christmas in terms of what we can't do, what we wouldn't have, what we cannot enjoy this year, we go into it up front from a negative, pessimistic point of view, and we're more likely to not do well and to, if depending on how you manage things, to not turn out too well at the end of it.
With Christmas being a time for giving, Dr. Othello suggests focusing on helping each other get through the season.
Think about how you could positively impact somebody's life this Christmas. You may have done it before, but give special attention to this year. And if possible, do a little more than you normally do, because we have a lot more hurting people this Christmas, and we can all do a little bit to brighten their lives.
While gatherings and parties are discouraged, Dr. Othello suggests connecting with loved ones in alternative ways.
Virtual games out there now that we can play. There are family activities that you could have with your immediate family that can keep you together, keep you enjoying each other's company, and keep you happy in spite of the fact that you can't go from house to house visiting in the way you normally would.
Even though the holiday may be tough, Dr. Othello advises having a plan for the Christmas season to help ease anxiety, which may arise from deviating from the norm.
I want us to plan our Christmas, plan what we're going to do, so that it doesn't just overwhelm us when the time comes that you're not doing something you would normally have been doing, because you've already planned what you would be doing instead of that.
Most importantly, Dr. Othello wants the public to keep in mind that COVID-19 is not the gift to be given for Christmas, so remember to follow all public health regulations. Candace Jackson, Channel 5 News.
State game licenses are to be on sale from Wednesday, 25th November 2020. This as government recently announced that the hunting season will be open from Friday, 4th December. The license for the 2020-2021 hunting season will be available at the Revenue Collection Office at the Victor E. Bruce Financial Complex in Scarborough and at Roxborough between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. The hunting license will cost $100 and each hunter is limited to 3. Hunters are reminded that all COVID-19 regulations apply when visiting the offices. And now we'll look at today's weather. Today, partly cloudy with a light to moderate showers in varying localities. Overnight will be mostly clear with the brisk shower in a few areas. Today's temperatures should reach a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius and fall to 25 degrees Celsius.
All right, we do have Tobago Notes, and let's go to that now. When we come back, lots more.
And imagine being able to relax with scents that we're all familiar with. Well, Tobago Wick, a local candle company, provides just that.
I think during the COVID period, the first lockdown, I think persons had a hard time initially dealing with the fact that we couldn't go to the beach, you couldn't do things in groups, the movie theaters were closed. So I thought of this idea of ways to bring back memories for persons of places that they would typically go in Tobago. So I started with the beaches.
She explains her other product lines.
I try to keep it Tobago-centric, so I have villages, Tobago sayings, I have a marijuana line, I have a men's line in the works at the moment, and slowly and surely I will release them.
The candle maker says she's content knowing that her customers express their satisfaction with her work.
It's much more than I expected, because a candle is something that is not a need but more want. I did not expect so many persons to show interest, but a lot of persons are saying, well, they're Zooming all day, you know, they're with their children doing online classes, so once everybody is asleep, they just want a mode of relaxation, and they say candles help.
All of Tobago Wick's candles are made from scratch from products sourced locally. It is Giselle's hope that her line will be available internationally within the next 3 years.
I want people to wake up in London and say, you know, it's a cold morning and, you know, I feel like lighting my pure Pigeon Point candle and, you know, feel excited about it and that it will bring back memories of when they visited Tobago.
And as the Christmas season approaches, a holiday line with flavored candles, including punch de crème, sorrel and spice, will be established.
All right, welcome back. All right, so as we will speak to Marceline Melville-Jack at 7 o'clock, so we do have a little time in which you can interact with me on any given matter. Obviously, the Venezuelan issue still, needs treating with in terms of how we have done our part as a people. We have accommodated them. We've never seen such a large number of people in Tobago at one time. Or people or all of Tobago, lend a hand in terms of providing food, water, and I remember just how painful it was to watch people, leave their country as a result of seeking refuge outside of their country, and the government would have said, okay, we are going to give you an extension, and extended the extension that you can stay here. However, just like any of us who would leave our shores and go to another country of seeking a better life, would like at some point in time, if we have relatives at home, we would like to have them come and to live where you are living. So it is only a human, or it is human nature to react in the way these Venezuelans are reacting, or seeking to get their relatives close to them. Now, and this is a situation that needs treating with delicately. One caller, I was listening on another frequency, spoke about that is similar to Trump and his treatment of the Mexicans that stole the children away from their parents. Up to now, some of the children can't, or the parents can't find their children and so on. Now, let's bring Trinidad and Tobago's situation with the Venezuelan relationship. Half of what we cannot do is because of the fear of the sanction that evil man is waiting, he's going out of office now. So I think we're going to have some flexibility with that whole Venezuelan threat of imposing sanction. And I know Biden, given the makeup of his cabinet, what he said yesterday is that America is starting to look like, or this cabinet represents what America looks like. He didn't say today, but Trump still had believed that it was an all-white look of America. He doesn't understand that America has changed, and America has always been changing, or have changed since slavery or post-slavery, or before that. America was built on the backs of immigrants, and nobody has seen it fit to treat with those people who they have on reservations, the First Peoples, and they continue to disregard those people and so on. Geronimo, and if you understand that whole Los Angeles and that whole area where the gold was and so on, and the fight. Anyway, it's a long history. But let's come home. So as soon as Biden gets into office, we on this side of the world is hoping that sanctions, or the threat of sanctions with our closest neighbor, Venezuela, needs to be deepened, regardless of how we look on from now, and we need to understand the position that the government would have taken, that saying, hey, we are not going to endorse the foolishness that Trump was endorsing, that somebody who has not contested the election will say, must have a coup, and he is the man he chose to be the president of Venezuela. The sitting president of Venezuela, if it is that they need to have new elections and have their wealth spread across the board so that the citizens would remain home, then that needs to be done. So I think the rest of the world can't wait until the 20th of January to have this new president in, so that the world could really breathe a sigh of relief. That Cuba issue with that situation there, those sanctions needs to be lifted from Cuba so they can breathe after how many years? So when we examine what is happening with our brothers and sisters right across the waters there, we need to understand, or we as a people need to understand, that half of why we can't really do much except what we have done before is because of that fear, whether you want to face it or not, that fear of that Trump heavy hand of the sanctions you want to impose on anybody. We had to tread light with that Venezuela boat that was threatening to spill oil. We had to tread very light. You remember the situation with the oil passing through Venezuela coming from Trinidad, and then everybody said, oh God, those who wish evil against this country was hoping that sanctions would be imposed, and then say, hey, the government can't even run a country and so on. Look what happened to those wishful thinkers. But if you're a real citizen, when I say that, and you want to see this country go well, regardless of who is government, at the end of it, you want to see this country run well. Now, how do we treat with our brothers and sisters who are in a crisis in Venezuela? It's continuing. There's no real media attention anymore, but the situation is still really bad over there. Now, how do we step lightly on these eggshells that we are, trying not to mash too hard, because we fear Venezuela, the U.S. here that Trinidad trying to help them. Let me impose this and so on. So we tread in light. But at the end of the day, these are real people with real issues. How do we treat with that? I said, and I'm going to repeat it, I think the Prime Minister said it before that, Venezuela is about 31 million people, citizens. He might buy long, or maybe a million or more may have gone to different parts of the world and so on. But if they're really saying, or if we have set the precedent that we are going to allow people in, they are going to come. Remember when the first thing happened? You remember I said, some are going to come and they're going to drown? And I'm afraid my own mouth. And it actually happened because both synced and that kind of story. If it is that we are setting the precedent just to give these people the impression, and let me tell you, people use children. People use children to carry out the, I don't want to say, you remember RoboCop? I don't know if you know that story. And there were some arrests that police wanted to make, and then he used to put the child in the car and so on. The child is to get sympathy and don't shoot and think because the child, you go kill the child or you go hurt the child. And so on. So people use children conveniently to get the empathy and the sympathy, or the empathy and so on. So we have to be very mindful of what precedent that we are setting. Nobody's saying that nobody, that we don't empathize and we understand you're here, you want your children here with you and so on, and so you go send them and so on. But at the end of the day, if we set that precedent that is happening, and they really decide to come, we will be overwhelmed. We will not be able to cope with we're struggling with our citizens as it is. There are people who are still waiting to get their grants and so on. And we are struggling with our own, far more to deal with those who would want to invade us. So what we need to do, or what the world needs to do, and as soon as Trump leaves office, to get President Biden to give the world an opportunity to make the necessary intervention to better the lives of Venezuelans. If they say that they need if new elections need to be called and it needs to be monitored internationally so that this country can distribute its wealth throughout the place and everybody live comfortable, then that is what needs to be done. But we cannot afford to have every Monday morning, we have to deal with invasion or Venezuelans leaving the shores, coming here seeking a better life. All right, so at this point in time, we go for a break. When we come back, we speak with Marcelin Melville Jack. See you then.
The future of grocery shopping has come to Tobago. Shop and Swipe, your online grocery store.
All you have to do is add it to cart, press purchase, and they deliver to you.
Oh, wow! Low contact delivery. Order from the comfort of your home. Convenient curbside pickup. Cashless for your safety and ours. There's no line online. Visit GoShopAndSwipe.com.
Trico would like to inform our customers that we are making it even easier for you to contact us. We have recently introduced our customer care WhatsApp service. Our friendly customer care agents are now just a message away. You can message us at 46TRICO. That's 468-7426. From Monday to Friday between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. For more information, you can contact us at 639-4457.
When you need electronics, find what you want quickly at Ted Electronics. We have tons of brand name items in smartphones, tablets, LCD and smart TVs, headphones and speakers. For the best in electronics, check Ted. Amazing service and the lowest prices guaranteed. Located upstairs Moosehead Plaza, Bethany Road, Tobago. Ted Electronics, your ideal choice for electronics.
High Five with Christo Gift Senior Counsel, discussing real issues, political decisions, and economic trends affecting Tobago. High Five Mondays at 8 p.m., only on Tobago Channel 5.
Hi guys, I'm Avian Parks and I'm inviting you to tune into our new program, In Focus. It's an interview segment that will keep you in the loop on what's new in the THA and what's new in Tobago. But over the next few weeks, we'll be chatting with our THA secretaries as the term of this administration comes to an end. So guys, check us out on In Focus, our new interview segment. Stay in the know.
Hey, I got no, hey, turn off. All right, welcome back. All right, so we continue our series of Year in Review, and let's welcome Assemblyman Marcelin Melville Jack, Secretary from the Division of Community Development, Enterprise Development and Labor. Good morning, ma'am, and the compliments of the season to you.
Many happy returns to you, Brother B.
Yes.
This opportunity to welcome, or should I say a hearty good morning to your viewing and listening public.
Very good. All right. Yesterday we had a wonderful conversation with Kwesi Devines, yes, Secretary of the Enterprise, his division. All right. So we are going into your division, and you have 3 areas, just like him. So what we're going to do, we're going to speak about the highs, the lows, the challenges, if there's any in between, and of course, future should you return in office. All right. Let's start with the highs in the community development. Let's talk about some of the highs that you would have experienced or had that you wish to highlight. Let's start there.
Okay, now, as you just said, community development is just one of the departments under the division. I believe that our flagship program, which is the vocational skills program, has brought us the most highs during the years. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying during the years because this is the end of a 4-year period. I can tell you that one of the greatest achievements is the fact that this program has grown exponentially. These vocational skills are offered in more than 28 skilled areas, and it's done in just about 24 communities. Mm-hmm. And we have seen over the last 4 years that this program has grown from a registration of just over 500 to 1,600 plus in 2020, just before COVID struck the country. Mm-hmm. And that in itself gives me and the division a lot of satisfaction because it tells us that the people of Tobago are realizing that their future lies in the development of the skilled areas. Mm-hmm. You know, we cannot keep depending on THA jobs or some of the jobs that will eventually become, redundant. Mm-hmm. So people are now realizing that it is so important for them to develop their skills. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, in community development was one of the greatest achievements. Mm-hmm. You would have been present at our graduation exercises, and you would have seen the tremendous products on display. So much so that, it was necessary for us to show all of Tobago and the entire world what can be produced in Tobago. Mm-hmm. Our night markets and road shows have given Tobagonians the confidence that they need to go out there and market themselves, bringing in extra income into the home, and in many cases, an alternative to the run-of-the-mill 8 to 4 jobs. Mm-hmm. So for that, I am truly grateful.
Very good. All right, let's stay with community development a little bit. And there are community centers that are waiting the necessary intervention. I could point directly to, and I think I heard you in the plenary talking about Charlottesville Community Center. And there are other centers that has not, come up to scratch, as it were, to the quality and the standards of those who were refurbished and are now called, they're not even called community centers anymore. Let's talk about those communities who have not yet gotten their community centers, under your watch.
Okay, so I will start with Charlottesville. They've been very patient. I want to thank the people of Charlottesville for that. And at this point, we have demolished the building because it had gone past repair or update. And they can now look forward to a spanking new facility with a pavilion, which should start in December of this year. Construction should start, and we are hopeful that by September of 2021, they will have their new facility. There is also Lekoto. Again, another community facility that has been, I would want to say, due for repairs for some time. The building is so strong that we will not demolish that building. What we will do is a total upgrade. And they are carded for fiscal 2021, so they can look forward to that upgrade. The community facility at Bethel and Glen Road, as well as Scarborough. These are some of the outstanding facilities that hopefully we will be able to complete in 2021. I want you to know that at this time, most of the community facilities in Tobago have been upgraded. The most recent was Pembroke, which we commissioned just a few weeks ago. So by and large, we are doing really well. I think that Tobago is one of the only islands in the Caribbean that can boast of so many community facilities per capita.
All right,
Yeah,
let me ask you though, and I'll throw in, before we go to the lows, the challenges with the development of the communities, and I've changed the wording deliberately. What are some of the challenges that you're confronted with? Are these community centers, and maybe the next word that we want to call them may not be coming out of my lips right now, but are they being properly utilized? We have this culture of somebody holding the key for the center, and let's say that some group wants to have it. Are those real challenges still, and what is your ambition in eradicating that so that the centers are used to its fullest potential?
Okay, well, I can say at this point in time that there are 13 multi-purpose facilities on the island. These facilities are being managed by the division. There are coordinators there, and the coordinators ensure that every community group has access to these centers. And these centers are fully utilized because we run our vocational skills program there as well. And any other community group can have meetings or activities there. With a coordinator in place and with scheduled appointments, there's no problem with having a key and not being able to access a key. However, because we have about 40 plus facilities, some of these facilities are still being managed by the village council. And we have no problems with that, as long as every group in the community can have access to those keys. There are a few communities who have asked us to make their centers multi-purpose so that we can take over the day-to-day scheduling of activities in the center. But by and large, Brother B, I think most of the facilities are well managed. The absence of community councils in many areas have been problematic. And going forward in 2021, we are going to make a concerted effort to revive the spirit of volunteerism and community councils in facilities. I really believe that a community council should reflect the entire community. So, I am expecting to see people on the council that represents all aspects of community life, the school, the church, sports, youth, etc. And I believe that once community councils are well, incorporated, then these problems or challenges that we are having would cease to exist.
All right. You excite me there with your vision for it, and that's the future that you're speaking to. And we still have to get to the lows, but I want to stay there a little bit, right? Because I like what I'm hearing, given that there is a need, and you didn't say, you said restructure, but you didn't say revamped, because there needs to be an aggressive move to empower the communities in terms of running their own affairs. You talk about church and school. What is your vision really? Let me talk future one time and go into that. Should you return as Secretary for Community Development, Enterprise Development and Labor? What is your vision in terms of, are you thinking that we need to empower these communities so that they will refer to you as their representative to say, look, this drain in Dinette needs fixing. We need to cut this road here. And it costs X amount. We have done our feasibility study. So the community knows and relates to the area representative and says, hey, this is what we need done. So you go back to your council or your colleagues in your, what you call it, meeting, and you say to them, hello, listen, this came from the village council, the community council, and this is what we're proposing. I want to hear your vision as we talk future for development in communities.
Okay, well, I honestly believe that there is no need to reinvent the wheel, in that every community is facilitated by a field officer from the division. And these field officers would, or should I say, are responsible for attending community council meetings and bringing out the needs of the community back to the division. But what has been happening, Brother B, is that there have not been a lot of community meetings. And those that they have, well, we know that now with the COVID and all that, we can understand why they are not meetings. But even before COVID, community councils were not meeting. When we just came into office in 2017, we went around the island in 16 days, visiting communities and having meetings with community councils so that they can identify some of the issues that they were having. A lot of those issues stemmed around, as you said, inability to access the center when they wanted it, and the fact that there was always a problem with money. Who is keeping money? Who has the money, etc. And we believe that these are things that can be handled if you have an effective council running the affairs and if they are audited ever so often.
Okay.
So that takes us back now to the parent body of community councils. Once that is working well, then everything else should follow. So very early in 2021, it is the vision of Community Development Department to visit every community council as it stands now and try to give them assistance in incorporating the group and, keeping meetings and handling sessions, audits and all those kinds of things. I think that information is necessary.
All right, great. And let's go into the lows with community development. Any lows or any in-betweens that you find or you need to highlight and which, talk to us about the lows now.
Well, I don't like the word lows. I would always say challenges.
Well, this is where okay, go ahead. Yes.
Right, and I think the challenges, we have discussed them more already. And those challenges would be inability to access the center. Would be, to me, the major low.
Okay.
And as I have explained, this is something that we are going to work on, to make sure that every group, and I'm saying now, you can't have one group controlling the center and deciding who uses it, when they use it, whether they pay or they don't pay.
Very good.
That's where you have the challenge. So this is the major issue that we need to address.
Very good. All right. Let's go into enterprise development. And we're going to leave labor for last, right? So, and this, you smile there, and the rest of the world is smiling because of what was, this year, as far as every division, I think that you are the most envied in a good way. I would like to be like the division of community development, enterprise development. Let's stay there. Now, You have, and I want you to, and you would give credit to who deserves credit, is to take up this initiative of hitting the road with entrepreneurs in Tobago. And we know the success story. We'll start with the high in that area. I want you to, speak overall as to where it came from, the idea, and how it was rolled out. And of course, we'll talk the successes. I think you have most of this area will deal with the highs. Let's go.
Okay, so let me start off first by congratulating the staff of this division because they caught on to the vision and they have exhibited the passion. And this is primarily responsible for the successes that we can boast about. But our famous road show was birthed by then Chief Secretary Kelvin Charles.
Okay.
We have been having road shows in Tobago.
Ma'am, 1 second. That's the brainchild of Kelvin Charles, former Chief Secretary.
Yes, it is.
Well, give him his due and his honor, because you see, in most cases, we don't do that. And I mean, you talk about it and just pass over it, but give him his credit.
Yeah, I always give him that credit because he believes he has a passion, not just for communities, but ensuring that communities become sustainable. He has that passion for seeing existing businesses grow so that we can start exporting and that we can employ the people within the community right here in Tobago. So all kudos to him. I felt that putting the division together like this was a great idea because, as you would know, the division changed in 2017. We were restructured. And I think it was an excellent move. And because of it, we have seen the tremendous successes that we now enjoy.
All right, let's go deeper now and let's deal with the Trinidad Roadshow. The entrepreneurs and you could identify them. Of course, we know Ted Jones, he would take the top of the list because his story, he knows no fanfare except to say that he has done well. But there are other entrepreneurs who came out of that. Some of them were interviewed right here on Rise and Shine, and we discovered home furnishing and all of that. Let's talk individually, those who needs to be recognized in this conversation as we highlight the highs in the division of enterprise development.
Well, there are so many, but I want to also speak about Sonia Sampson. I don't know how many of you have seen her linens, but they are absolutely exquisite. And even as we speak, these linens are available in Trinidad, in Hilo, sorry, not Hilo. The name is not coming to me right now, but quite a few of...
Massy stores? Massy stores?
A few of the business places in Trinidad have her products on display. And I can tell you that it is of an extremely high quality. She was one of those who went to Cuba when we had that trade mission to Cuba, and they were also excited about her products. So in this new year, we want to make her another Ted Jones. We want to make sure that she eventually becomes a regional exporter.
Okay. All right.
And we also point to our local girl, Jimmy. Everybody knows about Jimmy and her tremendous ice cream. At this time, that ice cream is available in Tobago. We want it in many more supermarkets in Trinidad, because it is of a very, very high quality. So all kudos to Jimmy Sylvester this morning. We are going to make you a local distributor. I'm not sure how the ice cream can go to the region, but we will start with Trinidad. Then...
All right. Okay, Secretary, ma'am, let us go for a break. I'm getting the cue from my director. We go for a break. When we come back, and I like the way you're highlighting, but there are other ice cream makers that have not made it, and we'll highlight those and how you intend to help them in the future so that they too can get the recognition. You will get to that?
Yes, they too can come on board.
All right, fine. So we go for a break and we continue this very, very informative and healthy conversation with the Secretary of Community Development, Enterprise Development and Labor, Ms. Marcelin Melville Jack. See you after the break.
It's beginning to look a lot like the festive season at JG's Furniture and Appliances, Smithfield Trace, Lower Scarborough, and Orange Hill Road. We have washers and dryers, stoves, beds and mattresses, fridge, living and dining room sets, kitchen cupboards, wardrobes, chest of drawers, and so much more. JG's Furniture and Appliances, reasonable prices, excellent service. Call 639-3521 or 635-2341. Open Monday to Saturday.
In these unsure financial times, protection of your hard-earned financial assets is a priority. We at MI4 Security Cash in Transit Service are sure to grant you peace of mind. Fully insured services. Call us today at 660-7723 or 635-2144. MI4 Security Services Company Limited, keeping Tobago safe.
Visit the new and improved Belphones Hardware Limited, number 17 Canby, Mount Pleasant. Spacious showroom for your convenience. All hardware items including blocks, steel, paint, toilet sets, power tools, lumber, and everything plumbing and electrical. Open Sunday to Friday. 631-0911.
All right, welcome back, and of course, the very articulate and well spoken. And you know, and let me tell you, there's some orators that I listen to, and when I hear you speak, you're one of those, right?
Thank you.
And Crispin Moore, and you, and so on, right? But anyway, so you're right up there with the best. All right, let's go to So we continue our conversation with the Secretary from the Division of Community Development, Enterprise Development, and Labor, and we are doing our year in review. All right, so let's continue. There's an ice cream maker, Lisa. She's originally from Belgarden, but she's moved to Wim. I'm sure you're very familiar with her.
Yes,
you mentioned one. Now, obviously, and I discovered her by accident, and I tasted her ice cream, and then I was on radio at the time, and I had her, and I had a whole show with her, because I was so impressed with the quality of ice cream.
Yes.
For those dreamers, and she's not in the, she hasn't been exposed as should be, but what are the plans for people, and not just ice cream making, but other entrepreneurs who need the brick to get exposed?
Okay. Well, I too am very familiar with Lisa's ice cream. I actually have used it on many occasions. Mm-hmm. Like Lisa, there are many persons out there who would need that kind of exposure. Mm-hmm. So I'm suggesting that they come into the business development unit and register with us, because we cannot wait for the COVID-19 regulations to be relaxed so that we can put you out there again. Some who are registered and have not yet had the opportunity to show themselves, but they are doing tremendous business. Brother B, I'm sure that you would realize that entrepreneurship on the island is now second to none. There are so many people advertising their services and products on the internet, and their market is now much more than Trinidad and Tobago. So there is room for everyone, and we are willing to showcase everyone. In 2021, we are in another roadshow to Trinidad, and I'm hopeful that we can have new entrepreneurs entering the market.
Excellent. All right, let's continue the success story of that. And the highs, I think, with if there are any lows, you will treat with that. But let's go to that Cuba trip with those entrepreneurs and talk about the the exposure that they got and the potential that can afford dreamers as to have their items and their products globally exposed and exported globally. Talk to us from that experience.
Okay, thank you, Brother B. Now, that happened because of partnership. It is so important for us to partner with other agencies. So we partnered with the Ministry of Trade and Export TT to make that happen. And thankfully, 4 of our entrepreneurs were able to make that trip. And what that does for us is that it shows the rest of the world that our products are as good as any, and in many cases, better than many. Mm-hmm. So Tobago Teas went out. That is being done by Biana, and she is also another successful entrepreneur. And we want to take this opportunity to thank the Ministry of Trade and Export TT for always looking out for us and ensuring that we are always part of those trade missions. Because a lot of the highs that we are enjoying today is because of them assisting us in getting the message out. So we are grateful for the partnerships that we have formed.
Okay, and the Cuba exposure was this stuff, and then you talk about the teas. Every morning I promote bush tea, which we take for granted and treat it because no scientist has proven and spoke about the value of it and so on. However, we know the value. Let's talk about the investments that other businesses may want to contract some of the work, for example, and if they have to mass produce, would they be able to? Let's take Ted Jones, for example, and whatever assistance that can be given to in the future, should you return into office, with these entrepreneurs. Let's say Ted Jones, a company, let's say Safeways or Sap and Shop, wants $1 million a year. Can we maybe, and then employment would, just talk about the potential in terms of the investment that needs to be made and the assistance that can be given by your division.
Okay. Well, let me first start off by saying we can assist our entrepreneurs by buying local. I will always stress that. Let us keep Tobago's money circulating in Tobago. And the Division of Community Development, Enterprise and Development and Labor has started that because we only use support products at our division and encouraging all of Tobago to show that you love Tobago by supporting Tobago entrepreneurs.
All right. Okay. So so those are the highs. And this is, if there's anything that, we would remember as this initiative that was undertaken, of course, birthed by the former Chief Secretary and executed by yourself and your division. And that kudos to you and the success, and we are very happy for that. But let's deal with some of the challenges. As you say, you don't like to deal with lows. So let me just put that you may have had in executing this mission. Let's call it that.
Yes. Well, the major challenge will always be funding. Because I can tell you right now, although over the past 4 years, we have spent more than $15 million in assistance, and for COVID-19, we have spent $10 million. There is never enough funding to go around. But what's critical is that we provide the training. Quite a lot of the entrepreneurs out there need assistance in packaging. Listen, first impressions are lasting. And in order for you to sell your product successfully, the appearance of the product is important. So the training that is received from the business development unit is critical. We have formed a relationship with Kariri also, and we are hopeful that they will bring on a testing facility in Tobago in the new year. And all these are to help the people on the outside to ensure that their product is of a good quality. Consistency is another challenge that we have. So today you'll have some lovely banner balls, and next week you don't have that same taste. Some of the challenges that we face.
Okay, all right, let's stay there a little bit. And we talk about training, right? We have a culture that somebody would open a parlor and they would be selling, not doing business. I want to get to the business aspect of running, or the professional and what the right approach to running a business. A young person may say, I open a parlor here because plenty of people has come through here. Somebody tell them, right. They borrow the money, they get the money to open the parlor, they build the parlor and so on, air condition, everything. You go in, and then at the end of the day, when you ask them about their capital, their expenditure, and their profits, they don't have a clue as to how to manage their books. So they will ask them, you sell today? I sell $100, but I give Sharon to go down there and get some, because, we had nothing to eat, so I had to take out from here and take out. Right. And that's a real issue. There are people doing business and don't have a clue as to how to manage their books, capital expenditure, and so on. The training for that aspect of entrepreneurs.
All right, so you hit the nail on the head. Commingling of funds is a major issue in the failure of many of our businesses. But our business development officers are on the ground. And what they are doing is that they go into the businesses, and one of the first things they do is ask them to see their books. And once they recognize that there's a problem, we have training available to help them to deal with the business side of their enterprise. That's always available. So we don't wait on them to come to us, we go to them. In addition, I want to put in a plug for our vocational skills program. In 2021, we are including entrepreneurship. And this now is going to be done primarily by officers from the BDU, and they are going to be helping people who are interested in business and those who even have a business and they are not as, prosperous as they would like to be, to join those classes so that they can be taught the rudiments of running a business.
Okay, excellent. All right, so ma'am, I want you to stay right where you are. We do have our commitments. We go for news, and when we come back, we continue. I want to finish up with enterprise and labor, because that's the biggest slice, if you want to call it that, in this juicy pie that we're enjoying this morning in Year in Review, and then we'll get to labor. All right, so stay right where you are. After news, we'll continue our conversation.
Support brand cleaning products, tough on grind, yet gentle on you. In the kitchen, use only support dishwashing liquid. Washing your clothes, use only support liquid laundry detergent. Sanitizing your home, work, or any environment, then support antibacterial multi-purpose cleaner is the brand for you. Ask for support detergent products today, because we're a family. It's locally made with a great price, and everyone needs a little support.
I do believe that I still have a chance of becoming a nurse and living my life dreams, because I am attending ALTA classes. I am ALTA.
Sign up now for ALTA in your home, on your computer or smartphone. Call 624-2582.
Together, 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 together. We building bridges through space and time, filling the gaps in our hearts and our minds with love. I need you in my life, yeah. Together, together, hey, hey, and together we'll arrive. Together forever and ever as one.
Good morning, Tobago. Thank you for joining us today, Wednesday, 25th November 2020, for the Rise and Shine Morning News. 2 men are facing charges for the murder of Omari Matthews. Director of Public Prosecutions Roger Gaspard gave instructions for 33-year-old Dion Gardner and 24-year-old Jabari James to be charged with Matthews' killings. In addition to the murder charge, the 2 suspects are being charged for possession of an illegal firearm and ammunition. Police investigations revealed that on Saturday, 14th November 2020, the victim was in Corland Bush Trace in Blackrock around 1:30 a.m. There he allegedly had an argument with the 2 men who were known to him. The 2 men were said to have gotten into a grey Toyota Aqua, and when the victim approached the vehicle, 3 explosions were heard. The men reportedly sped off in the vehicle after the victim fell to the ground, bleeding from his neck. He was taken to the Scarborough General Hospital, where he later succumbed to his injuries. One of the suspects was held in Plymouth on the day after the murder, while the other was held a few days later. The National Security Minister has defended the state's decision to return 16 Venezuelan children to Venezuela after authorities intercepted a vessel they were traveling on at sea. Minister Young said government will continue to defend the borders of Trinidad and Tobago.
We are entitled to protect our citizens and the legal people in Trinidad and Tobago, and that is what we've been doing. We've been detaining people, we've been deporting people, we've been escorting people back across the borders. That is border protection. So you can't have it one way and then not the other. You can't say protect the borders, close the borders, but allow this one in, that one, not that one, not that one, choose that one. That is not how this government operates.
The National Security Minister noted that there are instances of attorneys showing up at detention sites claiming to represent the children's parents who are in Trinidad and Tobago. However, he cautioned that the state must be careful.
How is it that persons who are coming in, you don't know they're coming in, arrive here illegally, come off a boat, picked up, taken straight into custody? Who is it that gets their names? Who is it that suddenly knows all of the people who on that boat, knows their passport numbers allegedly, knows their ages, who they're related to, and all of a sudden an attorney arrives with that information? Think about it.
Minister Young noted that members of the Venezuelan diaspora who were granted a legal clearance to work and live in Trinidad and Tobago cannot legally request for individuals from Venezuela to come over.
Persons who are here legally, who may be the recipients of the Venezuelan migrant registration process, are not above the law. They cannot then determine, well, I'm calling for X, Y, and Z over in Venezuela, no visa to come in, break the border because it's illegal to come in without approval, enter Trinidad and Tobago because I call for you. That's what you're hearing now. I'm putting it down here today. We are going to start investigations, and anyone who has a Venezuelan migration registration card that is engaged in that, you are aiding and abetting in the breach of law of Trinidad and Tobago, and you're committing a criminal act.
State game licenses are to be on sale from Wednesday, 25th November 2020. This as government recently announced that the hunting season will be open from Friday, 4th December. The license for the 2020-2021 hunting season will be available at the Revenue Collection Office at the Victor E. Bruce Financial Complex in Scarborough and at Roxborough between the hours of 8 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. The hunting license will cost $100 and each hunter is limited to 3. Hunters are reminded that all COVID-19 regulations apply when visiting the offices. And now we'll look at today's weather. Today, partly cloudy with light to moderate showers in varying localities. Overnight will be mostly clear with the brisk shower in a few areas. Today's temperatures should reach a maximum of 32 degrees Celsius and fall to 25 degrees Celsius. Thank you for joining us for the Rise and Shine Morning News. I'm Ryan McCool. Join us again at 6:30 for the full Channel 5 newscast. Until then, have a very safe and enjoyable day.
All right, welcome back, and we continue our conversation with Assemblyman Marsden Melville Jack, Secretary from the Division of Community Development, Enterprise Development and Labor. So we're just about wrapping up the highs. Of course, we spoke to the challenges. I want to go in between. So this is a new segment for you. Were there any in betweens that was not highlighted that maybe, sometimes we miss, but was very important in the execution of highlighting and promoting our entrepreneurs and encouraging at the same time? Any in betweens?
Well, when you say in between, I would just like to speak to the fact that partnerships are the way that we need to go. That is the way that we can achieve more than we are achieving at this point in time. I want to take this special opportunity to talk about a partnership between the Community Council of Argyll and the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Services. This is something that we just can't sweep under the carpet and take for granted. When they partnered with our division, we were able to facilitate the training of 110 fire officers in Tobago. And because of that now, so many of them, if not all, are employed in Trinidad and primarily in Tobago. And so I want to encourage the public sector, NGOs, you name it. We are open to any kind of partnership to ensure that Tobagonians on the island are afforded the best opportunities possible. So that's my in-between.
Okay, good. And you're flexible, you're not stiff. And what you're asking me that for? And this is what I like about people who understands what a continent. But that is what I do. By now you're accustomed that we have conversation and not interviews, right?
Exactly.
Very good.
Exactly.
All right, let's go into labor, which is really one of the heavy portfolios in as far as based on what we're looking on and we're seeing. All right, let's start with the grants. That would have been a challenge. So that's not necessarily a high, but I want you to highlight the high points of those who would have received their grants under your watch with this COVID-19 impact.
Okay, I can say at this point that more than 200 persons have been assisted with grants during this COVID period. Maximum amount was $50,000, but obviously everybody did not receive that amount. It was based on your request and what was feasible at that time. If we were to give everybody $50,000, the money would have been depleted very quickly. What I can say is that it helped them to stay afloat in that we gave money for goods and services as well as for improving your business, bringing it to a point so that after COVID, you are in a better place. So I really think that we helped a lot. There is so much more to do. We could not pay rent because there was another facility in social services for that. But we helped as far as we could. Right at this point, we have many applications still on hand. We do not have enough money to pay out these grants at this time, but we are hopeful that before the end of the year, we could receive more funding that we can push those grants out as soon as possible.
All right. In the interim, you delivered hampers and other your division, and I think you did it personally as well. Tell us about that assistance, that human instinct of helping thy brother when they're in need. Your division and individually, tell us about what happened during that time.
Well, community development is about people development, and people are at the heart of this division. So we know that there were so many challenges during COVID-19 and many families were without food. So we distributed more than 200 hampers throughout the island from Charlottesville to Crown Point. And I like to be on those trips personally because I really want to ensure that the people who receive the assistance are really those that need it. There are many more persons who need assistance. And we are always willing and available to assist. So in the coming year, you can see us continuing that assistance because we do not know how long COVID-19 is going to be with us. I met some people yesterday who are desperately in need for hampers. And as you know, this administration delivers hampers during the Christmas season. So I've already started making notes so that I can actually help some of these people during the Christmas season.
All right, let's go, and we're staying with labor, obviously. The highs that you would want to highlight in labor, but I want to get to application for jobs that people may be waiting, and they have maybe have done the interviews, but are waiting to be hired. But before we get to that, and that would be some of the challenges, let's talk about some of the highs in labor as far as your responsibility is concerned.
Okay, so I just want to correct you a little bit. Although the division says community development, enterprise development, and labor, there are actually 5 departments. So other than labor, there's OSH, which is occupational safety and health, and there's also CPEP. One of my division departments, I should say, that I'm so very proud of. So let's make sure that we give everybody a little bit of
all right. Let's go. All right. As you mentioned, and we'll touch on CPEP and URP, but occupation and safety. But I just want to let me go before we get there. The whole question of application for jobs. There are some cases that people don't even know how to apply for a job, how to write a letter, how to apply, and so on. But let's deal with that. Is there training as far as that is concerned? And then the applications that are waiting for calls in maybe teaching, in whichever profession that they want to pursue. As far as labor is concerned, talk to us.
All right. So let me clarify a little. We do not take applications for jobs. The labor department does is that they go out into the community. In 2017, we started a mobile service. So there's a labor caravan. It goes into communities and we invite people to come in and discuss labor issues.
Okay.
Challenges that they may be having with their employers or even with themselves. And we provide the information that is necessary. We assist them by having meetings with themselves and their employers. Sometimes employers come into us for advice. Maybe you have to retrench some workers and you need to do this legally. This is the kind of service that the labor department provides. In addition, public service jobs that are available and the private sector jobs, we advertise them on our Facebook page. We point people to professions that they may be qualified for.
Right.
One more thing that the caravan does is that it tries to match skills to jobs. So when you go out, someone is unemployed and they have a specific skill. They create a data bank of skills so that if a job becomes available in that field, they would let the person with the skill know. So then they go to that facility or enterprise, and that is where they do the application.
Very good.
For jobs, they have on a regular basis, they will advertise training, but most of the training is primarily for THA workers.
Okay, very good. All right, so we got that out, and this is why I spoke about application, and if you need. So you said that the caravan is still out there, or is it? How often do you do the caravan? And is there a place outside of the caravan that people can go to as well?
Well, the caravan operated every month in a different community. And we would advertise and people would come. They were there normally between the hours of 5 and 8 when people are at home, basically. And I must commend them for that because they are not paid extra for this. Okay? However, outside of the caravan, they can come into the division headquarters at number 10 Montessori Drive, Glen Road. The Department of Labor is there and they're available to assist employers and employees as the case may be. They were not going out when we were on lockdown, and we are now restructuring so that what we do it safely, So we will be resuming services in the new year, but we want to make sure that we abide by COVID regulations. So it means, the sanitization and everything must be in place before we resume.
All right. And of course, you would know that the program allows for phone calls in the last 10 minutes, which will start in a few, just roughly under 5 minutes. But just let me get this one in, dealing with occupation and safety. Obviously, COVID-19, we all have to be on the ball with our safety, given the potential of community spread. What have you been doing in that division in labor to ensure people's safety as far as COVID is concerned?
Well, what happens in OSH is that every division within the THA has an officer, and that officer is responsible for ensuring that all occupational health and safety hazards are met. So those officers will be working closely with administrators from each division. In addition, they go out into the communities in partnership with places like Fire, Tech, WASA, so that they can inform the public on some of the safety issues within communities, within their homes, that they need to be, cognizant of. We also use our Facebook pages around Christmas time so that we can send out, some hazard information so that people can know about overloading circuits and things like that, so that lessen the chances of accidents within homes during this Christmas period.
Very good. All right, so ma'am,
say one more thing about CPEP before.
Yes. All right.
Just one more.
Okay.
Yes. Now CPEP is a department that I'm really proud of, and they have recently partnered with Women of Substance, which is an NGO. They have allowed them to have their benches painted within communities. You will see purple benches, and on these benches will be messages, sensitizing communities to the real problem of domestic abuse. So I'm proud of them for allowing their green spaces to be utilized. They are also doing the painting of these benches.
As you mentioned CPEP and this whole question of restructuring CPEP, as we wait on the calls, and people, the lines are open, 635-1005, 635-1412. You can speak with Assemblyman Marcelin Melville-Jack as she could address any questions that you may want to pose. Please, as you may be respectful, all right? But staying with CPEP, and of course, we spoke about, there's much talk about restructuring, making it more viable, have them get a proper and a decent salary, as far as from a labor perspective. Give me your vision, and of course, as I said, highlights, lows, challenges, and future. What is your vision for CPEP, maybe in the next 5 years?
Yes. Well, what we have restarted is the training of CPEP workers so that they can self-actualize and eventually move to a higher place. And I can tell you that some of the entrepreneurs that we took to Trinidad came from CPEP. We've also partnered with DIQE and the Division of Food Production, Forestries, and Fisheries to have specific training in agriculture and agro-processing for CPEP and URP workers. So our vision is just to see them become the best that they can be in their capacities, whatever it is, whatever is their passion, go with it and eventually graduate out of the program so that we can keep helping persons who, require this kind of attention. They recently got a raise, and we are hopeful that eventually this can get a little higher. But the financial challenges at this time.
All right, we have a caller, and of course, good morning and welcome.
Yes, good morning, moderator.
Yes.
I call to congratulate Mrs. Melville-Jack on her development in the Division of Community Development. And politically, she will know that this is one person contributed to her development in politics. My name is Lyle Thorne from Bagatelle Branch 2.
All right. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thorne. I really appreciate it. And I do appreciate all the advice that you have given me over the years. And I think that I am a better person because of it. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, so the lines are open, and members of the public, you are free to interact with the secretary. Of course, ask any question in any area. For those of you who are in development, in entrepreneurship, you can, and of course, the secretary spoke about the assistance and the readiness to assist young entrepreneurs. So let's take another call. Good morning and welcome. Caller?
Yes. I just want to commend Ms. Jack. She has been a shining example of both that of an assemblyman and a secretary working hand in hand for the development of Tobago. Commendations. Excellent.
All right. All right. And the lines are open, 635.
Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate it, and my staff appreciates it as well.
Very good. All right, so the lines are open. For those of you on Pulse 89.5 FM, 635-1005, 635-1412. And we do have another caller. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Brother B.
Morning, sir.
I hear Miss Marceline. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm not hearing anything about Mr. Andrews in little Bell Garden with his cherry nectar. I'm not hearing anything about that. Okay. I hear all about ice cream and all kind of things, but I hear nothing with Andy's cherry nectar.
Okay, thank you, caller. She will respond.
At this point, Mr. Andrews has graduated and he is now under venture capital.
Mm-hmm.
That is what we consider big business. So venture capital is under the Division of Finance and the Economy. So I guess when Mr. Joel Jack comes on, he will speak to that and all that is happening at Cove.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
small and micro entrepreneurship.
Excellent, and of course we have had. I think all of Tobago is proud of that invention of cherry nectar. However, ma'am, as you mentioned that the real cherry, we are not getting that. There's hardly, when we spoke, I think when I spoke with the family, they spoke that they're not getting the real cherry, so they have to do the artificial. Is there any, intent to maybe when I speak to the Secretary of Agriculture to mass produce cherry so we can have the real cherry juice? I don't know. Tell me.
Well, I really believe that is the way we need to go, because right now I would like to see different communities taking it upon themselves to produce different items for our agro-processors. People planting peppers only so that the pepper sauce industry can reach the maximum level that it needs to. I saw this in Costa Rica when I visited, where communities would be responsible for one specific crop. So one district would do strawberries, one do cocoa and tea, and those kinds of things. So this is the way I would like to see us moving in Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago. So what we do is boost our local entrepreneurs and the economy.
Very good. Yeah, well, I mean, you're echoing the very sentiments I express every day. I talk about agriculture and food production that, we have to zone as to, you go to Maria for pepper, you go to Bethel for pumpkin, so we're on the same pathway. But anyway, so the lines are open, people, and we continue our conversation. We have up until 8 o'clock with the Secretary. Let's take this call. Good morning and welcome. Good morning, caller.
Yes, hello.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Brother B.
Yes,
morning. Good morning to the Secretary.
Good morning.
Yes, Madam Secretary, I'm calling concerning Bell Garden Village Council. We all had constructed a new community center there for us about 2 years ago, and with the promise that the old one will be with the fix up the old one for us to do other relevant village council activities. But up to now, nothing hasn't been done to that whole building. And also, what is happening with this council? Thank you.
Bell Garden.
I lost him a little bit.
Yeah, but he's talking about the center and the concerns about Bell Garden Community Center.
Bell Garden Community Center.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Bell Garden Community Center is one of our newest centers. I'm very, very pleased with the outcome of that. I want to thank the villagers of Bell Garden for coming to agreement so quickly that we were able to construct. Okay? That is one of our multi-purpose centers. Because of that, it is there's a coordinator involved. And that coordinator is stationed at the center to ensure that all the groups have access to the center. Just above the center is an old building.
Right. Yeah. I think that is his concern. Yeah.
Right. And the plan for that is that it will eventually become a youth center.
Okay.
Reason why it has not been refurbished yet, is we have to give every community a little piece of the pie. So we have just spent over $10 million on the new center in Bell Garden. So we'll have to hold a little so that the other communities can receive something, and then we will come back to refurbish that facility for them.
Yeah.
But I want you to know it's in the works. It's
Very good.
coming.
All right. What do you mean when you say youth center? What do you mean? Like what? Are they going to have skills training, sport, table tennis, lawn tennis? Tell us what you mean by that.
Well, the youth center will be similar to our Y zones, and that is a safe place for young people where we would have computers so they can come, the youth groups, they can come and have access to internet facilities. They can also have meetings. I know that there is a group in Bell Garden that has been agitating for sole ownership of that building, but I am afraid that we will have to open it to all the youth groups within the community. And we ourselves will be offering programs for the youth, training in internet and you know, any vocational skills that we do for adults, we would also like to offer for us.
I'm not hearing homework centers, and I remember you used to have night classes.
Yes.
You know, people who in those days were school leaving and so on. But is there any intent to have? And we have a serious illiteracy problem, madam, that needs speaking to and treating with. To some extent. Just the other day I was told by the attorney, Ms. Moore, that a teacher taught for how many years and couldn't read. And I'm shocked. I need to know his successes, whether he failed, whether he did well, that sort of thing. No. And you as a former teacher would chuckle at that. But you would ask, how did someone slip through the crack and fake it to make it all those years? So given that reality, is there any intent to having homework classes, let's call it that, because I don't want us to label it?
Well, partnerships again. I will tell you that even now we partner with the Tobago Literacy Association, and they keep classes in some of our facilities. And I think that the only reason that it has not continued, again, is because of COVID-19. But we are realizing every day that we are in a virtual world. So these classes will now have to be conducted virtually. And I think it augurs better for the persons who would like to attend, because one of our challenges have been, you know, that some of them feel a little ashamed to come to a facility kind of intervention because they don't want people to know that they're able to read. So if we take this thing virtually, I mean, it will be phenomenal, the number of people that can be helped.
Excellent.
As far as homework centers are concerned, we cannot control everything. I know that the Division of Education, Innovation and Energy had formed some sort of alliance with teachers who were retired to assist in that way. And they were using some of our centers to help the children who weren't able to read and write properly. And I want to challenge the community councils to have homework centers in the community centers that are available. There are so many people out there who can assist. So, you know, I'm throwing it out to the community.
Very good. Madam Jack, I would like you in closing, of course, the season is upon us of Christmas goodwill and so on. You would like to extend greetings to your community, to your division and the rest of Tobago and Trinidad.
Well, please allow me first to offer Thanksgiving greetings to all of our relatives and friends abroad in the US. We know that it is terrible times, but as one commentator said, it is better to Zoom for Thanksgiving than to ICU for Christmas. And I want to extend that same greeting to all of Tobago, the residents of Scarborough, Calder Hall, and all of Tobago, that we have a safe, enjoyable Christmas, because we want to see every one of you for 2021. And if you must gather, please keep it 10 persons and fewer. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
And thank you, ma'am, and to you and your team at the Division of Community Development, Enterprise, and Labor. Yes? Thank you, ma'am. All the best to you.
Thank you so much. You too, Brother B.
Yeah. All right, and indeed a pleasure, and of course, So tomorrow we will have Hayden Spencer, that's the Secretary of Agriculture, and we'll have our conversation. And he is fisheries, forestries, and he will tell me why this thing about these tourboat operators and so on, and this, anyway, and then why they're not having the same protection in the east with these the Speyside and thing. Anyhow, let's go. So don't get worried. Obviously, respectfully, and of course, we're having a conversation here in review, and it's not about asking them hard questions and poking down the truth and so on. And of course, it's a paid segment, of course. So with that, we go for a break. When we come back, lots more for you. See you then.
It's beginning to look a lot like the festive season at JG's Furniture and Appliances, Smithfield Trace, Lower Scarborough, and Orange Hill Road. We have washers and dryers, stoves, beds and mattresses, fridge, living and dining room sets, kitchen cupboards, wardrobes, chest of drawers, and so much more. JG's Furniture and Appliances, reasonable prices, excellent service. Call 639-3521 or 635-2341. Open Monday to Saturday.
When you need electronics, find what you want quickly at Ted Electronics. We have tons of brand name items in smartphones, tablets, LCD and smart TVs, headphones and speakers. For the best in electronics, check Ted. Amazing service and the lowest prices guaranteed. Located upstairs Moosehead Plaza, Bethany Road, Tobago. Ted Electronics, your ideal choice for electronics.
Support brand cleaning products, tough on grind, yet gentle on you. In the kitchen, use only support dishwashing liquid. Washing your clothes, use only support liquid laundry detergent. Sanitizing your home, work, or any environment, then support antibacterial multi-purpose cleaner is the brand for you. Ask for support detergent products today because we're family. It's locally made with a great price and everyone needs a little support.
In the midst of all of life's uncertainties and in the face of adjustments based on the new norm, our commitment and responsibility as a church does not stop. As such, let's embrace the church without borders and let's remain committed to spending time in God's Word. I'm Pastor Lorne Green of the Lowlands Lifeline Ministries, and I invite you, your friends and families to join me right here on Tobago Channel 5 every Sunday at 9:45 a.m. for 15 minutes as we look to God, listen to His Word, and live a life that pleases Him.
Welcome back, and our guest is on Zoom, and let's welcome Mr. Xavier Edwards and Miss Shirley Cook Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, Brother B. Good morning to
some of the
listeners.
And yeah, two of my favorite people, eh? Yeah, right. Okay, just to let you all know that, right? Good. All right, let's go into this Tobago Civil Net online Zoom discussion. Tell us about Tobago Civil Net, Tobago Civil Net. What is this about?
Well, Tobago CivilNet came out of an informal meeting of conscious and concerned Tobagonians, including Dr. Vanesh James, Reginald Dumas, Reginald Phillips, Winston Dillon, Mervyn O'Neill, and a few others, but it was informal. Yeah, Rodney Piggott as well. And essentially, it was about the social and political climate in Tobago with an eye on improvement of that self. It was dubbed Campus 228 because it was at Reginald's house, which is number 228. Since then, the group included people such as myself, Ms. Cook, Hannah Rose, organizations such as Youth Votes Matter, because I think we have a synchronized thinking for the progress of our island, and did projects such as, in collaboration with Tobago Writers Guild and Tobago Literacy Group, did projects such as bringing the Honorable Dr. Ralph Gonzalez in 2019 to do the lecture on reparations, as well as the lecture series with the good governance in 2020. And here we are now. And we also did conversations with the candidates in collaboration with Channel 5 for general elections 2020. And here we are doing a similar project for Hope to achieve 2020.
All right, Ms. Cook, we have grown to respect your views on a number of issues and your interest and your concern for Tobago's development. Clearly, that's an ambition that we can recognize in the way you articulate your views and so on. Your involvement in this, was it difficult to get you on board, or you just heard about it and said, look, I want to be a part of this?
No, not really, Brother B. They did not have to twist my arm because by nature, Tobago is my passion. Developing Tobago is at the core of who I am. And this organization speaks to that. It's really a group of non-aligned, bipartisan NGOs and citizens who are really concerned about Tobago's development beyond partisan politics. And therefore, it didn't take a lot for me once I was invited to say, look, this is something that I'm passionate about, and this is something that I think Tobago can benefit at this point in its history. So I was happy to be on board.
Very good. All right. So, civil society, and you would hear Mr. Reginald Dumas use that term very often. And so when we see civil net, it means using the technology to have the conversation about the direction in which Tobago is going from a non-bipartisan position. So, Mr. Xavier Edwards, you said that it birthed at the residence of Mr. Reginald Dumas. And where is it going? Take it from, it's birthed there, but where is the intention?
Well, the intention is essentially to have a strong and functioning civil society in Tobago. Civil society's role is very important in, I would say, the development of any society at all, because that is a large portion of the people and it generally has their concerns at heart. As we said, it's important to keep it non-political, because as soon as you get politics involved with civil society, then you have conflicting desires, conflicting wants, and we try to avoid that. We see it as becoming a net, literally, a net where we could all hopefully pull together a better Tobago.
Well, I mean, you know, the air we breathe, the water we drink, well, not so much the air we breathe, that is, yeah. But everything else has to do with the way policies are put in place, and politicians are there to ensure that we get what was due to us. Of course, we have to pay taxes and so on. And so there's governance structure in any developing country. I want to bring Ms. Cook into this part of it, and then we'll get into when is this conversation going to take discussion and so on. But Ms. Cook, given that we are avoiding in this movement, and let's call it that, and when you use term like movement, there is a quick way to say, it's something political. How do we avoid the alignment or the not seeing as a group that is a pressure group and may deem political? How do you stay on the path of civil society as not to be contaminated by the conversation of this is just another pressure group? Ms. Cook, your thoughts?
Well, all the members are keenly aware that the core objective of this civil net is to be non-aligned, to deal with the issues and not with party. And everyone on board is keenly aware of that, because at the end of the day, no properly run democratic society could function at its fullest potential without a strong civil body of people who speaks to the development of the country holistically. And therefore, this is something that as long as I am on board, we all would have our political affiliations outside of this body, and that is okay. However, in the conducting of the affairs of this body, it must be on a path where we are all encompassing, all inclusive of everyone, so that all views are heard. And in the context of Tobago's governance, it is even more so critical because of the way our THA Act that governs us is structured. So at this point, I think this organization is timely, it's relevant, and it's important that Tobago and Tobagonians and the electorate be part of it to ensure that the discussions that will be had, it's really redound to the benefit of Tobago as a whole and not any particular NGO or civil body. It's a group, as we indicated, that come together, that are non-aligned in the sense of any political affiliation, and therefore there is no question in my mind that we as professionals, we as people who are passionate about Tobago's development are going to keep it that way.
All right, Mr. Xavier, tell me about when this civil net online discussion will take place, and how do we, as ordinary folk, want to get in on the action, as it were?
Well, the sessions, at least the online sessions, begin starting tomorrow at 8 p.m. on our Facebook network, which is the name of the group, Tobago Civil Net. It will be ongoing essentially from now straight until the elections, which haven't been announced yet, so we're not sure exactly when. But starting tomorrow at 8 p.m., and you can tune in via Tobago Civil Net on Facebook. And we will follow the page, like the page, and you will get all the updates for the upcoming discussions that we will be having.
But is there
the
anyone...
conversation tomorrow is the political climate in Tobago and the electoral process,
right,
to educate the people as well.
Can people give their views? Is there any way that you can give...
Oh, yes, for sure. That's why we chose that platform as well. That's why we even do this, because our political process has been so narrow in terms of, to a great degree, the general public cannot question, interview, get to evaluate and share with the potential candidates. So the platform allows for Facebook questions to come in the comments. We will naturally screen them and make sure there's nothing inappropriate. But any question that you would like to pose to the panel, you can just put it in the comments, and the moderator will use.
And Ms. Cook, and staying with the point you made earlier about civil society has its place in the development of any country in the world. Earlier we spoke about community centers and community well, we didn't say that. Individuals who can impact your community, and the best people who live in the community knows exactly what they need and so on. In the discussion, is there an intent to break it down community by community? In every community, there's a particular area. Let's say that, let's say Miss Noel, you have Top Hill, you have Jigga Hill, you have Dinette, you have Sandy River, so each of these areas, even in Sandy River, you have Kokowati, that's another area. So in each of these little communities have its worth in terms of its contribution and what individuals they can recommend. Is there an approach to deal with that from those little areas that we may not see as important, but needs to be part of the conversation?
Yes, Brother B, and that's the idea. You see, as the name implies, every community in Tobago has some type of NGO or civic body. And we want to have every single one of them on board, because to adequately serve the people of Tobago, we must ensure that every community that has an NGO or any registered civic body, that they must be on board with this project, so that they're the ones who speak to the interests and the concerns of those communities. That is why, as you mentioned, Mason Hall, the civic organizations that comes out of those communities should be in tune and connected with all aspects of their community. So they bring it to the fore to this body, and we discuss issues based on that. Okay. It was timely to hear the Secretary of Community Development talk this morning, and I see so many things in the discussion that is relevant to this civil net, strengthening whatever they do, because one of the things is that there is a disconnect between a lot of the things that the divisions do and the impacts on the community. As much as some of those discussions may be sugar-coated or maybe converse to the public as everything is okay, we want to get the genesis, the essence of the community, what really impacts them, to bring to the fore so that decisions are made that could adequately, positively impact these communities. Wow. Now, in speaking about the discussions on tomorrow starting at 8 o'clock, we have some great panel. And I think the only persons we would have liked to have is a member of the EBC, because as much as the electorate votes in elections, there are many of us, and a vast amount of the population do not understand the election process. And therefore, that is critical in gathering information and knowing that, because we just see what happened in the US, it is important for persons to know that when they cast their votes are counted, and every person's vote is counted. And in addition to that, the process is fair and transparent. Excellent. And these are the issues that we want to discuss, we want to bring to the fore. So we have a great group of panelists to discuss tomorrow. We have a moderator, and we up in the ante in Tobago, because at the end of the day, these things we don't see it in Trinidad, and there's no way that Tobago cannot lead the way in these processes. All right, Ms. Cook, thank you. We'll take that as your closing. Xavier King, Xavier King is the principal of comprehensive, I don't even must call him a name. Mr. Xavier Edwards. All right, good. In closing, just remind us, connection, how people can Zoom it, could be connected as to follow the discussion.
Yes, you can follow us on Facebook at Tobago Civil Net. That's at Tobago Civil Net. And to those who are tuned in, who are members of organizations and NGOs in those various communities, as Shirley would have highlighted, we need your input because you live there. You can email us directly at tobagocivilnet@gmail.com.
Excellent. Thank you both and all the best. And we look forward to getting in on the information. I myself may ask a question or two or raise an issue. Yeah? So, yeah. Thank you, guys. All the best.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother.
All right. Okay. All right. We go for a quick break. When we come back, lots more. You can interact with me, ask a few questions and so on. See you after the break.
It's beginning to look a lot like the festive season at JG's Furniture and Appliances, Smithfield Trace, Lower Scarborough, and Orange Hill Road. We have washers and dryers, stoves, beds and mattresses, fridge, living and dining room sets, kitchen cupboards, wardrobes, chest of drawers, and so much more. JG's Furniture and Appliances, reasonable prices, excellent service. Call 639-3521 or 635-2341. Open Monday to Saturday.
When you need electronics, find what you want quickly at Ted Electronics. We have tons of brand name items in smartphones, tablets, LCD and smart TVs, headphones and speakers. For the best in electronics, check Ted. Amazing service and the lowest prices guaranteed. Located upstairs Moosehead Plaza, Bethany Road, Tobago. Ted Electronics, your ideal choice for electronics.
Support brand cleaning products, tough on grind, yet gentle on you. In the kitchen, use only support dishwashing liquid. Washing your clothes, use only support liquid laundry detergent. Sanitizing your home, work, or any environment, then support antibacterial multi-purpose cleaner is the brand for you. Ask for support detergent products today because we're a family. It's locally made with a great price and everyone needs a little support.
In the midst of all of life's uncertainties, and in the face of adjustments based on the new norm, our commitment and responsibility as a church does not stop. As such, let's embrace the church without borders and let's remain committed to spending time in God's Word. I'm Pastor Lorne Green of the Lowlands Lifeline Ministries, and I invite you, your friends and families to join me right here on Tobago Channel 5 every Sunday at 9:45 a.m. for 15 minutes as we look to God, listen to His Word, and live a life that pleases Him.
Welcome back. And, when we spoke just now there with Ms. King and Mr. Edwards, we spoke about little communities in your community, right, in your village. And you'll be surprised at the names. Why you live there, we used to call it, it still is, Cajun Call. Yeah, it's called Cajun Call, or Occasion Call. And they said my grandfather, Jimmy George, said you have to come here on an occasion, otherwise, So and so in varying communities, you have Igbo Gully in Leketo, and you would wonder how they got their names. And that is a unique thing about us in Tobago here, like Kokowati in Sandy River. And Showin, if you're listening now, remember when that place was given the name, and Showin gave that place that name. And so on. And in varying villages, you will have different names. Sometimes it's named after some person who died, and so on. And there's another thing that in terms of honoring people and respecting, Ms. Pangalang died, and they name a street in San Fernando after him. And then we ask why we have to wait till they die. and so on. And so in your communities, you know, like, you know, there are people who have made sterling contributions that you can use those names that really don't have any significance anymore and name them according to the people who contribute in your communities by you know, and so that the children, generation next, after they go, they will ask about this person, you know, and their contribution to how they may, you know, they were, so on. So we need to, you know, that whole, and that's a unique way of rebranding Tobago. If you're not, you know, so you know, I mean, when I hear terms like Igbo Gully, and I know what Igbo is Igbo yam, and Igbo is a tribe from Africa, or the, you know, and all of that. So there's so much that we have in our arsenal of promoting Tobago that can pique interest, you know, as to how these places got their names and so on. So there's so much about Tobago that, you know, and then we want to, you know, commend CivilNet and of course Tobago having discussions about how best we can go forward. And if you don't have vision when you're leading, you perish. And clearly we got from Marcel Melville Jacko vision as to in those areas, community development, enterprise development and labor. All right, so tomorrow we'll speak with Hayden Spencer. He is the Secretary of Agriculture. With that, we want to thank you all for viewing Rise and Shine. Join D Jam and I inside Cup of Tea. And we're staying with bay leaf. Yeah, we're gonna have some bay leaf tea this morning. Hey, embrace the urgency of today. For tomorrow is a mystery. Where are we saying so long?
Listen me about me want it so much. We go do we go try. Me want me boss. Listen me about me want it so much. Cause I want me with me the 10 and paint me rock. Listen me about me must use me boss. Send me the boss, send me the boss, send me the want it so much. Listen me boss and me want me boss.